been a plane crash here in New York City, and right now you're looking at live pictures of a U.S. Airways jetliner that went down in the Hudson River, an Airbus 320.
It has been more than 15 years since 155 people were rescued from the Hudson River after U.S. Airways Flight 1549 struck a flock of geese, forcing an emergency landing on the water. Everyone on board survived, and it was in part, largely, because of the actions of Captain Chesley Sully Sullenberger. Now, a newly opened museum named in his honor revisits that day, and Sullenberger walked along with our Nancy Chen through for an exclusive visit.
When you stand here today and you look up at this, is it a good feeling?
Oh, absolutely. It's actually bigger than I remembered. I haven't seen it for a while. But yeah, it feels good.
We heard people say that they heard the sound of an engine explosion and that this appeared to be a controlled landing by the pilot.
The fact that it landed relatively flat, I think, is more than just good luck.
A decade and a half after he landed Flight 1549 on the Hudson River, Chesley Sullenberger, known to the world as simply Captain Sully, calls this Airbus A320 an old friend.
You were sitting right there.
Right there, left front seat.
The aircraft now on display in Charlotte, North Carolina's Sullenberger Aviation Museum, along with other tokens from that January 2009 journey.
You think about how the day started for you that day when you put that uniform on.
That day started literally like 10,000 other days. I had never experienced the failure of even a single engine. And at that point in my career, I thought it was unlikely it ever would happen to me. I was wrong.
They had just taken off from New York's LaGuardia Airport when they hit a flock of Canada geese. With no engine power, Sullenberger and First Officer Jeff Skiles guided the aircraft onto their only option, the water. All 155 people on board remarkably made it out alive.
It's been 15 years now. Do you still think of it often?
Yeah, I get almost daily reminders, good ones, when people recognize me and thank us for what we achieved that day.
Has your perception of what happened that day changed as you reflect?
Yes, it has, substantially. You know, early on, I had said in interviews that I thought we were doing our jobs. But I think now with the passage of time, it's apparent that we all did our jobs exceedingly well that day, better than probably could have been expected under those circumstances.
Deemed the miracle on the Hudson, it was celebrated around the world as a sign of hope.
You got any ideas?
Actually, no.
Hollywood came knocking too. Sullenberger's actions inspired Clint Eastwood's Sully, starring Tom Hanks. Letters from all 7 continents also poured in, many now on display at the museum, carefully collected by Sullenberger's wife, Lori.
You read these letters out loud to your children, to your kids as a family. Why did you read those letters out loud?
We were really reading them to Sully for him to understand.
I hadn't seen any of them at that point.
And so we were trying to give him a sense of how the world was receiving the accident. I think it was still haunting him, the whole accident itself. And so that was the other part of reading the letters. He needed to work his way through all of that, and the letters were a really helpful way to do that.
For Sullenberger, the miracle also represented 208 seconds of agony.